SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Toyota of Brookhaven has been voted best new car dealership in Southwest Mississippi 4 years in a row. Come see the difference. Exit 40 Brookhaven or online at toyotabrookhaven.com. Great service, great savings. At Toyota of Brookhaven, we deliver.
Pike County, here comes your morning show. Dave in the morning on 93.5 FM, SuperTalk Mississippi.
So now, understand, you're not going to dictate to me what I do and what I don't do, but I'm still the mayor, Mr. Brown.
None of this meeting is recorded. None by any parties. Correct?
No, sir, mine is recorded. I'm being accused.
Any conversation.
Said I want to make it on record. I want the allegations in writing, or the accused, or on recording of this harassment.
And now, here's your host, Dave Hughes.
What I need is about 3 hours. What I have is 1. So we're going to do what we can today. Good morning. Welcome to SuperTalk Mississippi, Pike County. Dave Hughes here, and was in the big chair because Gerard was, I don't know, getting his eyebrows waxed. I don't know what he was doing, but he had a couple of days off, as we all do from time to time. So I was in the big chair. We didn't get to talk about this. There was a board meeting Tuesday night. The penultimate board meeting, which is a fancy way of saying next to last. I don't know why we need an extra word for that, but we've got one. And probably the best way to sum up a lot of the things that we found out as we come to the end of this administration in McComb city government is musically. Should have been the theme song for the entire term, to be honest. Because you just get the impression this is how things operate behind the scenes. They got this playing in City Hall. Don't worry, we're going to provide some receipts for that, and we'll start with one. This is way later. We're going to get to the supporting evidence for this. The city clerk got up, the new city clerk, and gave a presentation on the April financials. The mayor, as is usually his wont, had to sum it up and repeat it, and that sounded like this.
You will notice for the month of April, we have a deficit of $820,667.05.
I'll give you the nickel. $820,000 in April. That's not for the year. That's in 1 month. We spent over $800,000 more than we made in I have been saying this for years. At what point is City Hall going to have to go take out a payday loan if that continues? I mean, that's where we're at, right? Got to max out the credit cards. You cannot spend more than you bring in. This is not the federal government where they just fire up the money machine and print out a nice, crisp new stack of hundreds. We have to have a balanced operating budget. You don't just spend money to spend money. Oh, well, I want to do that. Well, I want a pony, and nobody's delivered that yet either. I don't even know where I would put it. $820,000, the deficit. Once again, Mayor Lockley being Mayor Lockley, assuming everyone is an idiot, then has to explain what a deficit meant. Let's start back from the beginning so you can get the entire picture of just how stupid you are.
You will notice for the month of April, we have a deficit of $820,667.05. That deficit simply means we have spent more than we have taken in. I have constantly voiced that to you. I bring it to your attention again. That is one of the reasons Mr. Bell did his discussion earlier, is because we have these issues and we need to address these issues.
8 years. 8 years we've had to deal with this in some way. But, you know, we're about to have a new hand at the till. We're about to have a new captain of the ship coming up in just a few weeks, just about 3 weeks. The new board will be sworn in. We've got the election next Tuesday, the general election, but everything's pretty well set. And we know Mayor-elect Bruce Mullins, Mose will be happy I got that in, will be taking over July 1st. So we'll see where we go from there. Got high hope. You have to have high hope. You have to have a positive attitude. But it's really hard, and I want to put that in perspective for you, okay? $820,000. I mean, that's not the exact amount because, well, I got depressed halfway through writing it down, so I don't have that full amount. I do remember the nickel because I've offered to cover that. $820,000. Let's say, for example, it's probably not, but let's say we had that kind of deficit every month. We spent that much more than we brought in every month. We haven't. I'm not saying we have. But if we had, for a full fiscal year, that would be $9,840,000 more than what we brought in. The city budget's $13 million. So that would be close to twice as much in expenditures as what we have in revenue. If this sounds like the most insane way to budget and run an operation you've ever heard, congratulations, you're paying attention. $820,000. That is not insignificant for a month. Now, let's go back because I wanted to hit you with the big one right up front. It was a succinct summation of what we learned. There were more details while the city clerk was talking. Let's go back and pick up some of those right now.
I'm presenting the April 2026 financial report in accordance with the Mississippi Code Section 213513, which requires municipalities to monitor revenues and expenditures against the adopted budget. The purpose of this report is to provide the board with an accurate comparison of actual financial activity to the approved budget so you can make informed financial decisions. This report includes the balance sheet, the income statement, and a budget to actual reports of the city's various funds. And it follows the suggested format presented by Mr. Eric Love, the CPA for Booker Camper LLC. I would also like to remind the board that these reports compare activity to the approved budget and do not necessarily represent the actual cash available in the city's bank accounts. Starting with the general fund, rental fee revenue increased by approximately 20%. Fines and forfeiture revenue increased by approximately 12%. One significant correction was made this month in April. In March, miscellaneous revenue was overstated by $653,975.89.
That's a lot of extra miscellaneous. That's a lot of extra. And overstated, that's really a bad thing when you're dealing with revenue. Because if you think you got more than you actually have, you spend more than you actually have. And we wind up here. I don't know if you remember, we've had several different instances, usually Selectman McKenzie. Selectman Cotting has said this a few times. Selectman Mullins has said it several times, that they didn't want to vote on something because until we got financials, we didn't know how much money we had. This is a great example of that. From April. Not from 5 years ago, where they're still working on trying to get the financials together. This is fairly current. That one fund, the amount was misstated and said they had $620,000 more than what they had. Yes, you are listening to the autopsy of a mess. Keep listening.
After researching that transaction, I determined that this was an overpayment received from Dickerson and Bowman that had been coded to miscellaneous revenue when it should have been recorded as an expenditure adjustment with the street and paving project. The correction has now been made, resulting in a more accurate presentation of the city financial position. Several other departments experienced increases from the prior month. City administrator expenditures increased by 18% and have reached the maximum budget amounts. Administration
let's just stop for just a second there. City administrator expenditures went up 18% from March to April, and they have achieved the budget amount. What that means is they've spent the year's budget in the city administrator fund, and it's April. The fiscal year runs through the end of September. Just want to remind you of that. So I guess you got to bring your own pens from home. I don't know how that's going to work moving forward.
The administrator expenditures increased by 18% and have reached the maximum budget amounts. Administration increased by 11%. The Office of City Clerk increased by 10%. Street Division increased by 12%. Traffic Division increased by 15%. And Insurance increased by 16%. These areas should continue to be monitored and may require future budgeting amendments or additional review. Special revenue. Some notable activities include...
You know what's coming here, right?
Recreational fund revenue increased by 14%. The fire protection expenditures increased by 98%. This was primarily due to $105,321.18 principal and interest payment on the Rosenberg truck.
Good expenditure. They needed the truck. If your house is on fire and they don't have a truck, you're not going to be thinking, well, at least we didn't spend that money. So yes, that's a perfectly legitimate expenditure there.
Disability and relief expenditures increased by 103%, and this is because of a $151,106 payment to PERS. Library support revenue and expenditures increased by 81%, and which is expected since this is a pass-through account.
Okay, we're going to pause right here because we have to get a break in. When we come back, we will continue with this. Because here at the end of an administration, in 3 weeks, a new group of people, mostly, is going to take over running this mess. It's important for everyone to know just how much of a mess they're inheriting. Did you ever have, when I was a kid, we had the game, I can't remember the name of it. Was it Perfection? It was something, anyway, it was a tray, and you mashed the tray down, and you put all the little shapes in the holes. And there was a timer, and if you didn't get all the shapes in the holes before the timer ran out, the tray popped and everything flew all over the place. I'm detecting some similarities between that game and the financial processes over the last 8 years. And it continued as late as April. New city clerk, gotta say, you're taking a stab at it. Give her full credit for that. Full credit. We'll get back into it when we come back on Super Talk Mississippi, Pike County 93.5. Keep it here.
Every now and then, we remind all of you loving, awesome, hardworking husbands that you have a premium it's time to renew. No, it's not life insurance, car insurance, or health insurance. It's way more important than those. I'm Kristen. Gentlemen, it's time to renew those long-term wife insurance policies. When you surprise her with a gift from Selmans, you remind her that no matter what lies ahead, you and she will get through it together. Your gift tells her this long-term wife insurance policy is for life. Renew your long-term wife insurance policy right here at Selmans. We're in it for the long term with you.
Don't miss Dave in the morning. Even when you miss it the first time, you can catch it on the podcast. Missing out would be a crime. Super Talk 93.5 is always the place to be. Want to get the podcast version? Here, my friend, is the key. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all around, it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, or just right there on the page. Dave in the morning, late at night, or anytime you have the crave. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com.
Weekday mornings at 6 after 9 on 93.5 FM, or you can catch up anytime by going to
SuperTalkPikeCounty.com.
Dave in the morning at SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. Catch up and catch on. Welcome back. Super Talk, Mississippi, Pike County. On a Thursday morning, can you smell that? We're getting close to a weekend again. I think everyone's ready for that. No one more so than the city clerk of McComb. She has been working tirelessly trying to figure out what in the heck's going on. And the correct answer is, of course, nothing good. One thing that we stopped right before we got to it, let's get this little piece in. Special funds, you just knew it was coming. There was going to be a discussion of the hotel motel tax because we have been using that like a slot machine at the casino. Every time somebody wants to do that, we can take that from the hotel motel tax, right? And this goes back years. This goes back to the previous administration even. Well, that ultimately does have consequences.
Hotel, motel revenues increased by 11%, while expenditures increased by 17%, placing this fund over budget. Although a budget amendment was approved, it was not completed until May, and therefore is not reflected in these April reports.
When what you're making goes up 11% and what you're spending goes up 17%, I'll leave this as an exercise for you. How does that work out for your budget? How does that go? Is that a good idea, you think? They did a budget amendment to add some money to it. Of course, the question then becomes, where is that money coming from? And also you heard that the budget amendment wasn't completed until May. So it takes a while to do those. When those transfers are done at all.
One of the most significant findings in my review involved the Treasury asset accounts. While reviewing the negative balances in these accounts, my team and I have discovered that accounts payable consent docket transfers had not been completed after checks were approved and issued. Although checks had already cleared the trust account, the corresponding fund transfers were never processed.
Okay, so you hear them in the meetings right at the front. It's the first thing usually that's dealt with is the consent docket. It's where you have all the bills that are paid. That's the one that you and I talk about all the time, that, you know, it's $1 million, $2 million. Once or twice it's been $3 million for a 2-week period that the city is paying out. Well, various things in there, if it's just as an example, this is nothing specific, but if they're paying something for roads, paying something for public works to do potholes or resurface a street or anything like that, well, that comes out of their budget. They write the check and they pay it out of the Treasury account, the main account. And then when the consent docket is approved, they take the money from the account that it's supposed to be spent from and transfer that amount over to the Treasury account to cover the check. Well, they haven't been transferring the money. So the Treasury account looks poorly compared to what it should look like, because it's not writing checks on the wrong account, but it's not moving the money over from savings to cover the checks you're writing. To try to put it into an analogy, into a form that, you know, just a regular private citizen can grasp a little easier, because it's all very complicated. I feel it's overly complicated, which hasn't helped anything. So as a result, you had all these checks clearing through the Treasury account and the money was not being placed back in there. I want you to notice the continuing, ongoing, never-ending, for almost a decade now, lack of follow-through, the lack of attention to detail, the little things like, making sure the right money's in the right account for when the check hits. Simple things like that. If you're not getting the simple things right, the complicated things don't have a prayer. Most of the time, the complicated things depend on the simple things being done right. And that hasn't been happening, as you're hearing here.
As a result, a significant amount was identified due back to the trust account from various city funds as a result of fund transfers that had not been completed after checks were issued and cleared. To correct this issue, the necessary adjusting journal entries have been processed. These adjustments will be reflected in next month's financial reports and will impact or decrease the cash and bank balances of the following funds.
Okay, before we get to the list of funds, so the incoming board is going to be handed even less money than they thought they were going to be handed. All of the following funds are going to have less money in them than everyone thought it had in them, all of them. This is going to be a whale of a start for the incoming administration. Here's the list of funds that are going to have less money as of next month on the books because nobody had been making the transfers. This is not necessarily a small list.
Mardi Gras Parade, hotel, motel tax, breast cancer awareness, debt service, train depot reconstruction, water and sewer enterprise, modernization, use tax, street paving project, and ARPA relief.
So everything. Notice hotel motel tax in there. This is how big of a mess hotel motel tax is in. Revenue went up 11%. Expenditures went up 17%. That fund is now in a deficit. They didn't do the transfer for that. They haven't been doing the transfers out of that into the Treasury fund to cover checks that were written. This has to be a nightmare for the city clerk. How many times a day has she thought to herself, what have I gotten myself into? This is a mess. We've known that. You and I have talked about it for years now. But it is an enormous mess. And it's not going to be pretty or pain-free to fix this. Because this goes back, again, exactly to what has been said by several people that sit around that table and have been there for the last 4 years. I don't want to vote to spend any money until we get the financials straight and we know exactly what we have, because right now we don't have a clue. We didn't realize how true that was. Getting a little bit more of a picture now, yeah, we didn't know anything about anything when it came to the finances of the city of McComb.
At this time, my review has been limited to the fiscal year of 2025-2026, and it appears this process has not been completed since the beginning of the fiscal year of October.
So we haven't done this at all during this fiscal year. None. I'm going ahead and telling you right now, brace up mentally and emotionally for when this settles out, just how bad things are financially in the city of McComb. It's not going to be pretty, because we have had so many things that have been moved around and changed and not done and directed to the wrong place. If you recall, we went for a while there. Anyone that paid their water bill with a credit card or a check, it went to the general fund and not the water and sewer fund. Then we had to transfer it back to the correct fund. It has been chaos. You really start to develop the picture that nothing has been done the way it was supposed to be done. And again, keep in mind, this is your current sitting city clerk who has access to all the information, giving this report that, wow, this is a mess.
Another correction involves the Edgewood Park bathroom design project. Although the board approved payment from the Hotel Motel Fund, the expense has been incorrectly charged to the Delaware Street project. My team and I have reclassified the
Just stop for a second. Have we just been guessing this entire time? Well, yes, because as it turns out, we haven't even gotten proper reports on things.
During my review of the city's financials and compliance responsibilities, I discovered that the city may be at risk of losing ARPA funding due to outstanding reporting requirements that have not yet been completed. Because these funds are subject to federal compliance standards, timely and accurate reporting is essential to protect the city's eligibility and funding.
And we've been hearing about that for a while, that the city doesn't qualify for grants because we have no financial records that we can... we've got financial records. You technically, they're just worthless. City clerk seems to be working to try to fix that, but that's a monumental task. So yes, grants are out. Federal funding, out. Why? Because we can't get our poop together. It has been years since this process started. 8 years. Coming up on July 1st, it will be 8 years that we have gone through this nonsense, and we think we can just hope and dream the problems away. It's going to be fine. We got this under control. We're doing a good job. No. To get credit for doing a good job, a key component is doing a good job. And none of this sounds like a good job has been done.
Upon becoming aware of this issue, I immediately began researching the reporting requirements and taking the necessary steps to determine what must be completed to bring the city into compliance and safeguard these funds.
After 4 years of this administration, a new city clerk comes in, and do you get the impression this is the first time anyone has even bothered to check to see what we needed to do to get into compliance so that we could get federal funding and we could get grant money? We've been talking about it. This was not a surprising revelation, but she immediately researched to find it. Yeah, I guess no one else in the office knew. No one else in City Hall had a clue what we had to do exactly to get back in compliance, so she went and researched it herself. Again, full bragging for the new city clerk. She seems to be doing a good job so far. Unfortunately, we are at the point where a good job is painful, both for her and for us to sit here and listen to it. But that's the only way we get it fixed, is to address the problems.
This issue was identified through my ongoing review of the city financial process and was not a result of any action or inaction on my part.
I didn't do it, and she's telling the truth there. She just got here. Just want to let you know, I didn't do it. It had nothing to do with me. I'm just, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just reporting what I have found. Fair play, totally accurate.
Rather than ignoring the concern, I chose to address it proactively in the best interest of the city.
Do you feel like that's kind of a little bit of a backhanded dig there? Rather than choosing to ignore the problem, I decided to deal with it proactively. Has it been ignored before now? Well, I think the current evidence would say, yeah, probably so.
I will continue to monitor this process and will provide updates to the board as additional information becomes available. As the city clerk, CFO, my responsibility is to report the city's financial information as it is reflected in the accounting records and supporting document. Financial information must be reported accurately, transparently, and not based on how it is hoped, anticipated, or desired to appear.
Hopes and dreams, I'm telling you. That has been the financial plan in City Hall for many years. Well, I hope it's going to turn out this way. I'm pretty sure it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. I have no doubt that things are going to work out. Let's just go ahead and spend that money. That has been the operating plan. You could tell that from her statement right there. Not how we hope it is, how it actually is. Which should be the base level standard for doing accounting work, shouldn't it? Usually, yeah.
Accurate reporting allows the board to make informed decisions, maintain proper financial oversight, and remain accountable to the citizens of McComb.
Yes, ma'am.
Over the past 3 months, I have worked diligently to establish stronger financial processes, improve internal controls, identify and correct accounting inconsistencies, and provide the board with reliable financial information for decision making. While significant progress has been made, this is an ongoing effort. My commitment is to continue ensuring that the city financial records are accurate, transparent, and maintained in accordance with the sound governmental accounting practices and the policies established by this board.
I do want to address one thing. As you could tell, she is reading from a pre-written, prepared statement, which is good. That's fine. Had a little trouble, had some stumbles at times. She does not deserve criticism for that because, well, she's really good apparently with numbers and records and bookkeeping. You can't have everything. You don't want me balancing your checkbook. But I've spent a long time talking pretty. You can't have everything. I noticed it professionally. It's like, yeah, she's kind of having trouble, but I've seen that before. She is obviously skilled at what she does, And talking and reading out loud is not one of those things in her skill set, even though I think she did a fine job myself. But she did have some stumbles, and I know there are some people who will try to criticize her for that. Knock it off. No. She's doing a good job at a very bad job that no one wants to do. I know that no one wants to do it because, well, for 8 years, no one's done it. When we come back, another couple of examples from Tuesday night's meeting that show just how chaotic everything is, records-wise.
If you're having trouble, you can count on me. See, numbers can set you free. I get the frustration with the situation. I'm here to bring that joy to all the girls and boys who have more fun when they sing this song.
We'll be back right after this. Keep it here.
That booty do math. Addition, subtraction, let me see them fractions. I wanna see that booty do math. Won't you subdivide them, multiply and times them? I wanna see that booty do math. I wanna see that booty do math. I wanna see that booty do math. I wanna see that booty do, booty do. I wanna see that booty do, booty do. Baby, 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 what's your rate of change? Numbers can be insane. Factor root sums and you'll go far. Just like these old math stars. Stephen Hawking, Newton, Pythagoras, Euclid. 2 + 9 = 11, -4 is 7.
Every now and then, we remind all of you loving, awesome, hardworking husbands that you have a premium it's time to renew. No, it's not life insurance, car insurance, or health insurance. It's way more important than those. I'm Kristen. Gentlemen, it's time to renew those long-term wife insurance policies. When you surprise her with a gift from Selmans, you remind her that no matter what lies ahead, you and she will get through it together. Your gift tells her this long-term wife insurance policy is for life. Renew your long-term wife insurance policy right here at Selmans. We're in it for the long term with you.
Don't miss Dave in the morning. Even when you miss it the first time, you can catch it on the podcast. Missing out would be a crime. SuperTalk 93.5 is always the place to be. Wanna get the podcast version? Here, my friend, is the key. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all there and it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, but just right there on the page. Dave in the morning, late at night, or anytime you have the crave. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com.
Dave Hughes here. Remember, every weekday morning at 9:06, it's Dave in the Morning, where we solve the problems of the world, or at least complain about them, really loudly and sarcastically. And if you miss out, you can catch up with the podcast version of Dave in the Morning at SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. Welcome back, Super Talk, Mississippi, Pike County, 93.5. Dave Hughes here. Now, it's not just in the financial records that things have been chaotic at City Hall. And I have a great example of that right towards the beginning of the meeting, right at the front. Part of the consent docket, they were approving the minutes of previous meetings, including the one from May 28th. And there were some questions. There's some very, to me, revealing questions about just how things are going. Just listen.
Give me a second, man.
Go ahead.
On the meeting from the 28th,
I'm looking at the 28th.
Selectman McKenzie is listed as absent for some votes and here for some other votes.
On what page?
Sometimes he
11
And 7.
and 7.
and then 24 and 25, unless he left early or something.
So 7, 11, 24, and 25. That's the item numbers on the agenda for that meeting on the 28th, that in the official records, in the official minutes, Selectman McKenzie was marked as absent, not voting on those. He was sitting there in his chair. First 6 items, he was marked as there. 7th, no, he wasn't there. 8th, 9th, and 10th, yeah, he was there. 11th, no, he wasn't there. 24th and 25th, well, he wasn't there. There's one big problem with that on, I believe it was item number 24, though, that you're about to hear about, that makes this completely nonsensical.
But he made the second.
You said 11, 7, 11, and which other one?
24 and 25.
24 and 25. Okay.
Can I second? Well, on 24, he made the motion on 24.
But he's listed as absent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So on item number 24, Selectman McKenzie made the motion. Somebody else seconded it. And then they had the discussion, and then they voted, and they think that sometime during the discussion, Selectman McKenzie just got up and left the room after making the motion. That's what the minutes show. How many times have you heard that the board speaks through its minutes? When the minutes are this wrong, I'm sorry, 4 items, someone who is there and voting is marked as absent in the official minutes. If Selectman Cotting had not caught that, that would have gone into the record. You remember in elementary school when you were threatened and told that if you didn't straighten up, it was going to go on your permanent record? The minutes are the permanent record of a city body. In this case, the Board of Selectmen and Selectwomen. So it would have been put on the permanent record that Selectman McKenzie wasn't there to vote, even though in one case he made the motion they were voting on. But he didn't vote on it because he wasn't there. I call attention to this because we just heard about the financial problems from the city clerk. Very famously at this point, we know that the financial records have been a shambles for years. They're still working through that, trying to get it sorted out as best they can. Now you have this. It does make you wonder, I wonder if that's happened before. I don't think so, because we have people sitting around that table that do actually check these things. They don't just rubber stamp it as it comes through, because sometimes mistakes are made. But you really get the impression that it's all mistakes at City Hall. That's where the real challenge comes in here. Now, I'm not going to get through all of this. Speaking of that, we have a thing with water billing in the city of McComb. I've got the report. We're talking millions of dollars that still hasn't been billed, is still not being billed. Whether it's a problem with the meter or a problem with the billing or whatever. Water Companies of America put that out and said, you got problems still. You got problems with these specific accounts who are using, $2,000 worth of water a month, and they're paying the minimum bill of $300 and something. Here's how much money you've lost. It's literally millions of dollars over the years that we have lost from just those accounts, not including everything else. Well, that was brought up in the meeting Tuesday night, and the mayor handed it over to the city administrator, who does run that kind of thing. And he tried to explain why there was a problem. And I know, big surprise, it's not their fault. It's never their fault. It's just that it's so confusing. I'm not even joking. Listen.
And what makes it difficult, and I'll just try and explain it as succinctly as I can, we have two companies involved in the process who interpret the data elements different. And so we have to convert those as a part of what we call an FTP file and move that through the system and then provide some updates.
Okay. Time out. FTP file. That sounds complicated, doesn't it? FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. That is how you move a file from one place to another place on a different computer, usually in a different room, a different state, apparently a different planet. That's what an FTP file. There is no FTP file that I'm aware of. FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. I have used it so many times in my career in radio, sending files, receiving files. I was not sending and receiving FTP files. I was sending and receiving MP3s and Word documents and all of that, the usual. So I just wanted to point that out. That sounded complicated. FTP file, no. FTP is the way you move files from one place to the other. Let's continue with this explanation. We'll see how far we can get into it.
And so it's, I talked to Mike Williams this morning, and he had identified that there were seven. There were seven serial numbers where they had provided us updates. One of them is 78 months old. Now, I would use this just as an example. When we look at that 78 months, the meter had been replaced and went back into service, and that was not accounted for in his numbers. The company didn't know that. And then the conversion rate from the size of the meter into master meter, and from master meter into the Amston system, which does the reporting. And what I said to him this morning is that we have to focus on the data and the soft answers about why we're dealing with 78 months from the time that they discovered the meter was not operating to spec. Then that issue, we have not reconciled it. And I would tell you, this is a very complicated scenario with having what Master Meter is doing is a good job in terms of identifying what the issue is, but translating what they have identified in the data itself.
Okay. Let's say at your house you use, I don't know, you filled your swimming pool. You've used 10,000 gallons in a month. The meter, the reading on that shows that you used 10,000 gallons in a month. Somebody asked how much water was used by this meter. And the official process is to then take that, according to what we're being told here, and translate it into a different measurement. I don't know, liters, squirrels, I don't know how else you're going to measure it. Translate it into different data for a different company, who then translates it into a third form of data for yet another company, and then gets sent back. And now it's confusing. It's very complicated. No, you use 10,000 gallons of water. This is not that hard. I don't see it. And here's the problem to me. This sounds like a self-inflicted problem. Why is it such a complicated system? Why do we not hear about these kind of problems from other municipalities except for Jackson? Why? Why do we need 3 sets of hands, each one using their own form of data, their own form of handling the information to do their job? There are no standardized ways to do this. There are no standards in the water industry. That's what we're being told, and that's why there's a problem. horse hockey.
If you cry,
Not buying it. Take the content of the rest of the meeting. We can't get the minutes right on who was actually sitting in front of you or not. We can't get the transfers done. We don't know how much money is in which account. Everything is being overspent. Everything is in a deficit. We spent over $800,000 more in April than we brought in. But sure, it's too complicated. Final break. Close it down for this Thursday right after this. Keep it here.
there's a darkness down inside me that I know will both enjoy, and it's screaming from within to set it free. I have left this bloody nightmare in my way put out of sight. All I want is deviation by design.
Every now and then, we remind all of you loving, awesome, hardworking husbands that you have a premium it's time to renew. No, it's not life insurance, car insurance, or health insurance. It's way more important than those. I'm Kristen. Gentlemen, it's time to renew those long-term wife insurance policies. When you surprise her with a gift from Selmans, you remind her that no matter what lies ahead, you and she will get through it together. Your gift tells her this long-term wife insurance policy is for life. Renew your long-term wife insurance policy right here at Selmans. We're in it for the long term with you.
Don't miss Dave in the morning, even when you miss it the first time. You can catch it on the podcast, missing out would be a crime. SuperTalk 93.5 is always the place to be. Wanna get the podcast version? Here, my friend, is the key. SuperTalk PikeCounty.com, it's all there and it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon or Apple are just right there on the page. Dave in the morning, late at night, or anytime you have to pray. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com, it's all there and it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon or Apple, or just right there on the page.
Closing time. Open all the doors and let you out into the world. Closing time.
So what have we learned today? Kids, we have learned that standards don't exist. Accounting practices have been some sort of magical, mythical process that no one understood. Oh yeah, and we're not broke. We're triple broke. We're so broke. When we get this all sorted out, I think everyone is going to be stunned and depressed at just how broke we are. This is not going to be an easy fix, and I wish the best of luck to the incoming administration in 3 weeks. Having said that, don't turn your back on it. Don't let us down. I don't think it's going to happen, but if you do, it's not going to end well, I don't think. Especially at the ballot box 4 years later. I don't want to wind up in a situation where we look back with fondness at the time when we were just getting nasty letters from the state auditor. Because it can get worse. Have a good day. Have a good weekend chasing foul balls in the seat tomorrow. We'll do this again next week. 9:06 weekday mornings, my friend. I'll see you then.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.